Great, thank you very much. And we have a number of items on the agenda tonight. We have a public hearing. I'd ask, it's a continuation of the public hearing. I'd ask our town clerk to announce that. Right. I know it's a continuation. Just announce it.
That's what I'm saying. Take the whole thing.
Public hearing number one, a continuation, application of Chabad Lubavitch of Rockland, also known as Chabad Synagogue of Mississippi Hebrew Academy, for a special permit to conduct a child daycare center.
Great, I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing. Moved by Councilman Hauser, second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Good evening. So the applicant is seeking a special permit for a daycare operation at the site of an existing religious institution and school. In the original proposal for the daycare center, the applicant is proposing a program for 12 children in pre-toddler and 12 children in the toddler program. This utilizes 2 existing rooms on the site. Program hours offered would be 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. with options to extend the day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So this application required a site plan approval before the planning board and a recommendation to the town board for a special use permit. It was scheduled to appear on the August 3rd planning board agenda. However, prior to that meeting, the planning department received a memo from the fire inspector noting a number of issues at the site. Violations were issued, and the item was removed from the August meeting. Later that month, we received a memo from the fire inspector's office that these violations had been corrected or repaired, and this item was rescheduled for the September 7th planning board meeting. At that meeting, the planning board granted approval and made a positive recommendation regarding the special permit to the town board, with one caveat. They had asked that a contingency be placed in the approval, and this is due to the fact that the applicant stated at the meeting that the facility was inspected by a state fire inspector from the Department of Social Services to determine maximum occupancy of each room shall not exceed 7 infants or 9 toddlers. Irrespective of the application narrative, which proposes a maximum of 12 children per room, the planning board recommends that the town board restricts the special permit to follow state requirements on the limitation of numbers of infants and toddlers per room in the facility. With that, our department is also tasked with making a recommendation in regard to the environmental review under the provisions of seeker for this application. For the site plan portion of this application, a negative declaration was issued, and we recommend that the town board follow suit in their seeker recommendation for the special use permit.
There's no impact, again, to the Clarkstown School District by this application?
No, similar to the letter that we had for another application, no impact is anticipated.
Any questions from members of the town board? Thank you. There being no questions from the board, I'll open it up. Were there any members of the public wishing to speak on this agenda item? There being none, I'd entertain a motion to vote negative deck, correct?
Yeah. Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing and the negative declaration.
Correct.
Moved by Councilman Hauser, second by Councilman Carey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And a motion to adopt, correct?
Correct.
Moved by Councilman Hauser, seconded by Councilman Carey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, at this point we'll go through the agenda items. We'll explain them and then we'll take public comment on the agenda items. So The first agenda item is authorizing the town to retain the law firm of Jackson Lewis to serve as government relations counsel to New York State for the town of Clarkstown. I'll ask our town attorney to explain this.
Sure. Last year, in December, the town approved Wilson Elster to serve as government relations counsel. Effective September 1 of this year, the lobbying/governmental affairs group from Wilson Elster the whole practice group moved to Jackson Lewis. So Wilson Elster no longer has a governmental affairs practice, and now is at Jackson Lewis.
So we'll be working with the same folks for government affairs, but they'll be under the title Jackson Lewis, and this is simply transferring the balance of the contract for the remainder of the year. And we'll go out for bid and evaluate this going forward, but it's just moving the contract. Item number 2 has been withdrawn. Item number 3 is authorizing the following expenses, and as the members of the public and the board will note that we made a change where any overnight travel is to be voted on and approved at the town board level, and so we have various officers, primarily here, that are going for training. Item A is training and officers being sent for Law Enforcement Officers Railroad Operations Academy, October 2nd through the 8th, not to exceed $1,100. Several officers are going for canine training, narcotics detection, recertification, November 27th through December 2nd, not to exceed $900. Several officers are going to the FBI Sniper School in October from the 29th, the 24th to the 29th, not to exceed $1,890. One of our captains is going to the Use of Force Summit from November 28th to December 1st, not to exceed $1,400. We have several officers that are going for information services training on the New World Public Safety, and that's taking place October 5th and 6th, not to exceed $525. We have a couple of officers that are also going for the New York State Advanced Roadside Impaired Driving Enforcement Training, October 16th through the 18th, not to exceed $490. Those are the appropriate charges for those officers that are going for their training, and they're recommended by the Police Department Administration. We concur on this whether in the budget. Any questions from the members of the board on this? Okay, item number 4 is authorizing the following personnel changes. Appointment provisional, Larry Kay, Deputy Building Inspector, at an annual salary of $101,355. Mr. Kay is, well, why don't I ask Eric, the Building Inspector, maybe you could speak to this? Why don't you speak to A and B, which is the appointment permanent of Edward Steva, Code Enforcement Officer of the Building Department, at an annual salary of $63,129.
So good evening. I did interview all 3 of our assistant building inspectors, all the eligible candidates. I recommended Mr. Larry Kay for the position as Deputy Building Inspector. And also Mr. Ed Skiva, he's been started off a part-time code enforcement officer for us. He finished all his certifications. He's been working full-time for us now, and this would be a permanent position.
Okay. Any questions from members of the board on this? So Mr. Kay is taking your position. You were the deputy.
I was the deputy, correct.
Right, so he's taking your position as promotion.
So what is provisional about the position? Can you explain that?
He would have to pass the test every year.
Thank you.
And Mr. Steva has made the qualification, so he's going for it.
Yes, he was all certified in New York State as well.
Good. Okay, thank you. Reclassification of planner to senior planner. This is appointment provisional Jim Creighton, senior planner of the planning department. Mr. Creighton has been with the town for a number of years, and he's qualified under civil service rules for the provisional appointment to senior planner, and we want to congratulate him. He's been a great addition to the town over the last number of years, and he'll have to sit for a test at some point, but he's been qualified to move up to the level of senior planner. Any questions from members of the board on this? Okay, and then the reappointment of Eileen Daly, member of the Assessment Review Board. This meets as needed as it relates to the assessments within the town, and she's paid $175 per diem rate per meeting as they meet, and meet several times a year. Any questions for the members of the board on that? Okay, number 5 is authorizing the supervisor to enter into a lease agreement for the rental of Unit 8 in Building 20 in Normandy Village, Section 2. As many of you know, and those of you who are not aware, a number of years ago the town agreed to for us to enter into an agreement with a unit over in Normandy Village as part of an expansion. That unit is to be rented out for emergency service workers. Those workers receive preference. It helps to bulk up our ambulance corps and our fire department. There's a gentleman who had been renting the unit that's moved on, and another person's been identified. They have to go through a vetting process. It's been determined that Jerry Levy from the Rockland Housing Action Coalition will certify that the person is eligible. They also have to remain in good standing as a emergency service worker. I believe this gentleman is actually with the Nantucket Fire Department, and he will be moving in once this is approved later this month. And we're happy to be able to assist our emergency service workers in being able to find accommodations so that they continue to work here within the volunteer fire departments and ambulance corps. Any questions on that? And then amending resolution number 415 of 2015, the fee schedule, and then ask our town controller to explain that.
Yes, there was a resolution passed previously to register apartments in the town. What this does is amend that resolution to set the fee at $250 per unit for the registration fee.
Any questions from the members of the board? Okay, great. So, any questions from members of the public on any of the agenda items? Yes, Ben, come on.
Thank you for taking my questions. The first question I have is, what is the Officers Railroad Operation Agency? I've never heard of that, and it's just and it's like from the public, who's got to look at the railroads?
Sure. We'll get all the questions that I can we can answer.
And the second question I had is with respect to the lease that's going to be entered into, is this unit, how big is this unit, and what's the monthly rental expenses on it?
Sure. Okay.
Ma'am, could you state your name for the record?
Pardon me?
Just state your name for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry, my name is Janet Edwards, and I'm the music.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else with any questions on any of the items? Okay, so Captain L, could you come up and maybe just explain what the Railroad Operations Academy is?
Yes, that is a training academy geared specifically towards police officers, training to deal with events that may happen on the railroad, emergencies that happen on the railroad, hazardous materials, derailments, that kind of stuff. We're sending our town emergency management officer to that training.
Okay, thank you. And as it relates to the apartment, I believe it's a one-bedroom apartment. It's a one-year lease with a one-year option, and the rent is $670 per month, plus any increase in common charges or special assessments in the first year that the common complex might offer. And again, it's an enticement to help support recruiting members for the volunteer services. That's the public good. Okay, great. So I'd like to move forward then, since there's no other questions with the agenda items. So, and I do see, actually, just walked in earlier, Rabbi Koltarski from Chabad. Rabbi, you're a little bit late. Your application's been approved already, so you're welcome to stay, but it's already been approved. So we'll move on with resolution number 1, authorizing the town to retain the law firm of Jackson Lewis to serve as governmental relations counsel in New York State for the town of Clarkstown. So moved by Councilman Borelli, second by Councilman Noto. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 3, all the different aids are left. Moved by Councilman Hausner, second by Councilman Borelli. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 4, authorize the following personnel changes A, B, C, and D. Moved by Councilman Noto, second by Councilman Carey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 5, authorizing the supervisor to enter into lease
Second.
agreement. Moved by Councilman Borelli, second by Councilman Hausner. All those in favor say aye. Item number 6, amending resolution number 415, 2015 fee schedule.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Borelli, second by Councilman Noto. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that concludes our agenda items. The next part of the meeting is general public comment on any agenda item. Before we get to that, I'm going to take the opportunity to just offer a statement. At the workshop this evening, which will take place after the town board meeting and a brief executive session, we'll be hearing a presentation from the Bonadio Group about the Clarkstown Police Department efficiency study. But I wanted to lead off tonight's meeting with some very good news. Since receiving that report, members of my administration and myself have met with the Police Department administration and the PBA between 4 or 5 times in the past week or so. The goal of these meetings has been to move forward with savings that make sense for each of the stakeholders, the Police Department, the PBA, and the taxpayer, without reducing the tremendous services for which the Clarkstown Police Department is known. These meetings have been very positive, they've been productive, and they've been constructive. And I'm happy to announce tonight that together we have found $2,750,000 in savings that will be applied into the 2017 budget. We've arrived at these savings through some retirements, the reduced cost of hiring some new officers at lower salaries, some changes in management as it relates to overtime, and some changes within overtime scheduling. And I have to say it again, it's been truly a very collaborative, positive, and welcome process that has produced some very good ideas from everyone involved. I particularly want to thank Captain Mann, Captain Uchinikoff, Lieutenant Weisberg, Lieutenant Dietrich, and the members of the PBA, Ray Lachette, Pete Walker, Dan Martin, Scott Rios, Brian Callahan, Chris Kiernan, Christian Cortelli, and Steve Chernick for their participation in this process. I think what we've established is we're going to look for this number, and we've agreed on how we're going to arrive at that for next year's budget, and we're going to put a process in place to work collaboratively together moving forward in future years. I think it's really best when we can work together in a constructive and positive manner, and I want to thank the administration and those who participated in these discussions. And as I said, we've agreed that going forward we'll have a work group that will continue to keep a lookout as it relates to the additional savings. The Bonadio report has really served as a blueprint, if you will, or a framework for us to be able to find $2,750,000 in savings in next year's budget for 2017. So I want to thank them for that. With that, we'll open it up for any public comment. Mr. Lachette.
Good evening, Supervisor, Town Board, residents of the town of Clarkstown. My name is Ray Lachette, Clarkstown PBA, lifelong resident of town of Clarkstown. I just want to echo what the supervisor said. Since the completion and submittal of the Bonadio report, the PBA, in conjunction with Rockland County PBA, has been meeting with the town supervisor, the police department administration, and we went over several different recommendations that were in the report and some that we had come up with on our own. And during this collaborative process, we were able to come to agreement with reforms that make sense, that none of them would jeopardize the safety of the residents of Clarkstown. And we also, we spent a lot of time putting this together, but we were able to come up with an agreement with savings of 2.75, which will help out the town with, I know, the fiscal crisis that we're currently enduring, but most importantly, that don't jeopardize safety of the residents of the town of Clarkstown. I just want to thank everyone that was involved in the process, starting with Captain Manikoff, Captain Uchinikoff, Lieutenant Weisberg, Sergeant Steve Chernick, Chris Cortelli, Chris Kiernan, Brian Callahan, Pete Walker, Scott Rios, and Dan Martin. We put a lot of work into it, and I think moving forward, some great things can be accomplished. Thank you.
I also want to recognize Councilman Borelli as the liaison to the police department, who was an active participant in these meetings, along with Vinnie Velasco, our Director of Finance in our Town Attorney's Office as well. So I want to thank them for their efforts as well. Is there anybody else wishing to speak on any item or any matter? Okay, there being none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. We're going to go into an executive session that will probably last about 15 minutes, and then we'll re-adjourn for our town board workshop. So, a motion to adjourn?
Are we staying in here? Or emergency?
We'll come back here.
We'll come back here, yeah. Moved by Councilman Borelli, seconded by Councilman Noah. All those in favor say aye. Aye. That concludes the town board meeting. We're going to take a 15-minute recess for an executive session, and we'll start out with the Bonneville report from the police department. Thank you.